Hey, 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 this is your boy KLA Cloud the Wanderer, and this is a movie review with Sinners and the Thunderbolts. So check it out.
Hey, what's going on? It's KLA Cloud the Wanderer. Yep. Yeah, I wanted to do a Sinners review, man. And a Thunderbolts review. Somebody might come to the panel. Hopefully, yeah. I didn't know how to do it. I wanted to record it or put it live, so I just did it live. You know, yeah. So the what I was talking about but the topic for tonight was the Sinners and the Thunderbolts movie that I seen. I seen Sinners a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks approximately, and I seen the Thunderbolts on Friday. Yeah, because Thunderbolts it came out on Friday and stuff. So yeah. Go first with Sinners. I thought it was decent. Um like there was some things that, it was like pointing out to me, and let me tell the viewers that who haven't seen Sinners what's it about. It's about these twin brothers, Stone and Smoke. They're twin brothers played by Michael B. Jordan, and they go back to their hometown in Mississippi, and they buy this juke joint from this Ku Klux Klan member. That the juke joint was a place where they had hung slaves. But anyway, they find people that they was associating with before before they left Mississippi. They went to Chicago. I think it was working for gangsters and stuff like that. So they came back. They stayed in Chicago for like 7 years, I think, something like that. But yeah, but they was there for a while. So they kind of not kind of, but they went back to Mississippi, and they got together along with friends to um to to get to do this juke joint, make business of like a club juke joint back in the 30s and stuff like that. And then their cousin was really it was mostly it would to me it was about him, and he was really gifted. He had this talent of playing the guitar, and he had this kind of gift where he could attract the spiritual, like good energy and good things and bad things. But majority of times in the movie it was the negative things that was tracking his music, through Remick the Vampire. Yeah, so yeah, I thought it was decent. There was people that, I had a friend. He said that he didn't really like it because it was too long, and and for those people that didn't see the movie, I mean, it has like blues. I'm sure people have an idea. It has like blues and stuff like that, Delta blues, and it talks about like how the segregation in the segregation in the 1930s with black people and white people. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like they made a big hype about it. You know, um, I could show you. Let me see. Okay, so Sinners, twin brothers return to their hometown in 1930s Mississippi and face an evil threat. Director Ryan Coogler blends blues and country music, IMAX, film stock, genre bending, storytelling, and then cinematic musical. Yeah, it was a little bit of music in there. You know, it was this one scene. I mean, I don't want to blow it up, but it's this one scene where they're in the juke joint and you know, like Sammy, that's one of the characters. You know what? Let me introduce the characters, the cast of Sinners. Cast of Sinners movie. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Okay, Jada. I don't know who this Saul Williams as Jada. Andrine War Hammond Rufy, Jack O'Connor Remick, R&B. I mean Michael B. Jordan. I don't know where I get R&B from. Michael B. Jordan Smoke, Sam Malone Terry, Lee Jun Lee Grace Chow, Delroy Lindo Delta Slim, James Lawson Perline, Haley Seinfeld Mary, Percy Bell, incarcerated worker. Damn, it's a lot of people. Who else was in this shit? Damn, this is a lot of people. Yeah, Corn, Percy Bell, incarcerated worker one, Omar Benson, Cornbread. Yeah, the list goes on and on. I don't want to like just go. Yeah, but Michael B. Jordan, of course. He was the twins. Everybody know. And yeah. I mean, my analysis on it was all right. I think I feel like people made a big hype about it. It kind of reminded me of when Black Panther came out. Really, everybody was making a big hype about that. You know, it did had some things that some I don't know, let's call it Easter eggs, but there were things that kind of pointed out to me where I said it earlier that Sammy, the dude that played Sammy, he was playing his guitar, and then you see the scenes where you see a rock and roll guitarist, then you seen to hip hop and all that type of stuff. I think it to me, I think it kind of pointed out the degeneracy of black music. At first it started with the like African music, the spirituality, but then it kind of you know moved on to other things like further on to the blues, and then rock and roll, then hip hop, then trap music, you know. So to me, that kind of pointed out to the degeneracy. So yeah, a lot of people they talk about this. I mean, they talked about how great it is and all that type of stuff, but it was decent. Friend of mine, he didn't really like how it was. He's not black, but he wasn't really feeling it too much because he was telling me that it took an hour for action and all that stuff. Me, I think I kind of could relate to it a bit because I listen to blues a little bit. I listen to Muddy Waters. I listen to what was his name? Robert Johnson. There was a lot of dudes from the blues eras. A little bit. I dabbled into blues. I used to wanted to play a guitar and stuff like that. So yeah, So I think some of that, I could relate to with the blues side and stuff, and but with the racism, it was funny because I was getting little kind of bored with that. I just feel that because not too long ago there was a stabbing that happened with a black kid that stabbed a white kid. And so, like watching this film, it's like you're hearing about racism in the present, and now you got to you seeing it in the past. So I don't know. I had a little like if it was like if this movie was made maybe like 10 years ago, it wouldn't really like. I don't think I'll be turned off that much about it like that, but it was decent. I'm not gonna take nothing away from it. I don't think it was all that, like the way people hyped about it. But yeah, there's people that I got some clips of people giving their analysis on it. So yeah, could check it out. Hold on for a second. And
The first day I ended up having was not the first day that was originally supposed to be my first day. We had quite a time with the weather down in New Orleans during the making of this movie. That altered the schedule quite a bit, and in real time we were having to really just like be oh so present and embrace the chaos that came with a changing schedule by the minute. The first day was a scene with Marion Stack, and this scene that we shot first was one that I think, I'll speak for myself, I'd hoped would happen later down the line. Just for the sake of building rapport and comfortability and, again, confidence in the space and in the wardrobe, in the character. And it came up and it came out of nowhere and we did it and it was done. And it was then that one scene that was like our North Star, that because we had shot that scene, everything else made so much sense. And it's one of our later scenes, but somehow it was such a blessing in disguise. And sometimes I wish we could detect those sooner, because it would save me a lot of stress and anxiety, because I was dreading it. And originally on the schedule, it was way in advance. And I've always had this feeling of like, there's always like a scene or two or three where I feel like I could circle it in red pen. That's like the daunting hill I'm gonna have to climb at some point. And this was that.
Yeah. Well, that was the making of it. I should have. Well, it was like and the vampire part. It was mostly. It kind of reminded me of the Dust Till Dawn thing, that type of thing. I know everybody talked about that. Yeah, but it wasn't too bad. It kind of reminded me of The Color Purple a little bit with the juke joint. I know they in The Color Purple they had like a scene where they had a juke joint also. Yeah, so let me actually I think it was actually I wanted to play a video where somebody talking about it, but it's cool. Um, Let me see how much it made. You know, in this movie it did good at the box office and stuff. So all right, the box office as of May 4th, 2025, Sinners has grossed 179.8 million in the United States and Canada, 57.5 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of 237.3 million. Some publications claim the film needed to gross 170 to 185 million to break even when the factor in its production budget, Coogler's first dollar gross, premium video on demand, and streaming deals with Prime and Netflix. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, when I remember I read something um that it still was it still was like on number one. It did better than the Thunderbolts movie. So so yeah, so okay. Hold on. Yeah, it did better than this Thunderbolts movie. So yeah, who are the who are the Sinners cast in 2025? Yeah, I think Haley Steinfeld. You know, she plays a biracial woman. You know, I heard she's half she has black in her family and stuff. But like, but in the movie, she plays Mary, and she's with I think who the one of the twins that Michael B. Jordan plays and stuff like that. You know, I really wanted to get somebody's opinion and stuff. I don't know if this person come in, but you know, I just wanted to do this. So yeah. Yeah, I guess we can play a video on this shit. So
Y'all, Sinners was not no movie. That was a spiritual manual, if you ask me. How many people watched Sinners and probably thought this is just a vampire movie with a little music added to it? It's so much to unpack. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts. If you have not seen the movie, this is your chance to scroll now. We talking about I ruined it for you. Like I said, Sinners was a whole spiritual download wrapped in a ritual. We're gonna start at the juke joint with the twin brothers smoking stag. They came back to Mississippi in the Jim Crow era to open up their black owned juke joint. We all know the juke joint wasn't just no club. That was a sacred space for us. It was a safe zone where black folks could gather, be themselves, dance, laugh, cry, sing. Most importantly, where they could remember who they were. Enter Sammy, their little cousin, who has this amazing gift. I ain't just talking about a musical talent. I'm talking about a spiritual frequency. Sammy could play the blues in a way that could call spirit. This is the whole reason why Remick, which was that first vampire that showed up, this is why he wanted Sammy. He was actually willing to let everybody else live as long as he got Sammy. He said Sammy could play music so good that it could connect the souls of different eras. The movie, the music opened portals. So this is what we mean when we talk about music today and we say it's a conjuring tool. It's a weapon, it's a bridge, it's a spell. The moment he touched that guitar, you could feel the ancestors move. You could feel spirit rise. Why? Because sound is vibration. Vibration is how we move between realms. But here's where it gets real, because that same power that Sammy held also attracted the darkness. Because when you get it, you don't just attract light. You attract everything, and that includes spiritual parasites, energy vampires, and people who don't want to own what they don't understand. Let's talk about the vampires, shall we? Because they weren't just thirsty for blood. They was thirsty for culture. Now, Remick and his folks didn't want to unalive Sammy. They wanted to own him, own his music, own his power, own his frequency. That's colonization as we know it. This is what they've done to our culture. Black creativity, black sound, black food, black ritual. Take it, twist it, label it there, and feed it back to us disconnected from its root. The main reason people demonizing what they showed us in the movie is literally embedded within us. Now, the biggest thing that I took notice of, vampires could not come in until they were invited. This goes back to everything that I've been telling y'all, especially when I get a lot of bookings and people coming to me saying, I've been hexed. They put something on me. The first thing I tell them is you let them. Not only that, you sitting right here affirming it. No, they can't come in unless they invited. That's spirit.
well, you know, she said a mouthful. It was yeah, it was a lot to cover in that movie. It was a lot of things that was crammed in that stuff. You know, the spirituality of it. You know, like I said before, like when Sammy he was playing that guitar, you know, his music kind of attracted these vampires and stuff. So, you know, and I think that there's some realism to it. Like I think there's like you know, you have to be careful like the things that you create because it can have like demonic image demonic messages and stuff like that, you know. I think like with the hip hop today and trap music and all that stuff, it's not just that, but it's music today, period, modern music in general. You know, it has some, I would say, dark messages, you know, sex, violence, you know, debauchery, all type of stuff. So yeah, like Sammy, he had like this gift, but he was like indulged in the gift. he was indulging, like the 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 bad stuff. Like I mean, when I say the bad stuff, it's like when, at the end, really, in the beginning of the movie, he's in the car. If you don't want to hear, look, if you don't want to hear this, you don't have to hear it. But in the beginning of the movie, he drives and he goes to church where his father is preaching and stuff. So he goes into church with the guitar, and so his father was telling him, "Yo, you have to drop it. You have to make a choice." So and then it takes place earlier what happened, but his father was telling him to to um to drop what he loves, but Sammy, he just couldn't resist. He just kind of went against his father's what his father was telling him. So yeah, like yeah, but I mean, there was things I liked about the movie, but then the thing with the Remick, I would say the thing with the Remick character, I think he was very interesting. I know he was more of a like what how a lot of black people see other groups. They take advantage of black culture and stuff like that. So yeah. Hmm. Well, I could hold on. Let me see something for a second. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Yeah. So this is like some of the pictures, like they in the jukebox and stuff like that. Yeah. Who are the cast of Sinners? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the guy that played Sammy, he's a singer and stuff like that, and you know. In 1932, identical twins and World War I veterans Smoke and Stack returned to Clarksdale, Mississippi after years spent working for the Chicago outfit using money stolen from gangsters they purchased. Yeah, they stole money from gangsters. They purchased a sawmill from racist landowner Hodgewood to start a juke joint for the local black community. Their coach, Sammy, an aspiring guitarist, joins them despite his pastor, father, Jediah, warning that blues music is supernatural. Yeah, some of that stuff, they was talking about some of the mythology, the supernatural part, they get it from Robert Johnson. Excuse- I'm about to mispronounce his name. And yeah, Robert, for those who may not know Robert Johnson, he was a blues guitarist. There's a story where he sold his soul to the devil, with because he wanted to be a better guitarist, to gain some talent. So, but because he wasn't good, I from what I understand, from what I learned, and so he made like 39 songs or something like that. Yeah, but anyway, some of that a little bit. I know little pieces of the Robert Johnson story was derived in it. So it's a lot of stuff, you know. There was people that pointed out um the supremacy of the vampires and stuff, like I heard somebody, I think Tariq Nasheed, he was talking about that. He was saying the vampires were like Democrats and stuff. So yeah. So okay, Coogler began developing the genre film through this production company, Proximity Media, by January 2024 when Jordan was cast. Warner Brother Pictures acquired distribution rights the next month following a bidding war, casted for additional roles took place. Da 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 da. Yeah, so the twins recruit other staff, pianist Delta Slim and singer Pearline, with whom Sammy becomes enamored as performers. Yeah, Pearline, who was Pearline? I forgot who was Pearline. The Pearline, that was Sammy's interest in the movie and stuff like that. So as performers, Smoke, a strange wife, Annie as cook, local Chinese married shopkeepers Grace and Bo as suppliers, and field worker Cornbread as bouncer. Yeah, so they gather around the people. They gather around the people that they knew, and they you know to do like this juke joint business and stuff. Yeah, so well, I'll just play a little video for you guys. Yeah, I'm not a great person to talk about to tell about it, but I'll just do my best. Okay, let me see.
What is it we supposed to be doing? Being kind to one another.
People are not talking about Cornbread's character in that specific scene enough. Obviously, this scene kicks off the main climax and where all the action begins, and we see that the characters find out that they're dealing with vampires. But this scene specifically, when Cornbread comes back to the juke joint after he's been turned into the undead, into a vampire, them inside of the juke joint, they don't necessarily know what's going on, but Annie, who is someone who is a practitioner of the occult dark arts and hoodoo and things of that nature, and she's more knowledgeable of the supernatural, she's challenging him because she knows that something's off, and she's already starting to plant the seeds to the people in the juke joint that he can't come in here uninvited, which, as we know in vampire lore, vampires cannot come into your home or enter into your life or being without your invitation. I said this on my other video and talks about in regards to how this is how sin works as well too, and how the devil and the powers that be try to also infiltrate your spirit in your life, but they can only do so with your consent and your willingness to do so. Now, if you go back to that scene, I just stitched this. The part when the older gentleman who's the drunkard, and he says, well, what is that we're supposed to be doing? And then Cornbread goes, being kind to one another. And it's this big, grandiose type of gesture, just trying to, making it seem like, this, of course, is what we're supposed to be doing. And he goes on to say, we're all one. We're all one people. Now, where else have we heard that type of rhetoric before? I'm not going to get too deep into it because this is a platform that loves to flag. But if you go back and listen to that scene, when Cornbread, and he's talking about like, oh, we're being kind to one another. We're all one people. We're all the same. And if you've heard that before, it's also in regards to this agenda that's being pushed. And I mean, when I say agenda, like, you can actually research how there's different types of, like, when you talk about like New World Order, there's different doctrines that talk about this whole concept of leading society on a world systemic, like, societal basis of this goal of being a one people with a one gender, a one religion, a one type of race, a one sexuality. and it's all the agenda, it's all going in. So the way that they're able to kind of push this, because if you really think about it, because there's so much duality and so many double entendres in the film center.
Okay, I kind of agree with him, but not entirely. I don't know about one gender people that I mean an agenda that people push in one sexuality, one religion. Maybe the religion part. I believe that they're pushing atheism a lot. You know, feminism and you know, yeah, that type of stuff. You know, socialism. You know, I would say that. You know, I could say that that itself maybe was in the vampires represented the socialism, you know, everybody's equal and stuff, everybody's kind to each other and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, yeah, when Cornbread he got turned into a vampire. Who was Cornbread? I remember him from the 8 Mile movie. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I had him there. Let me see. Cornbread. Let me see. Okay, cornbread. No, cornbread. Who was cornbread? Yeah, okay, Omar Benson Miller. Yeah, I remember him in the 8 Mile movie. Yeah, he was cornbread in that movie. Yeah, yeah, he played cornbread. Yeah, so yeah, I believe like it kind of it the vampires they represented you know stuff like socialism, you know, everybody's equal and they wanted to control things, you know. They yeah, I know it could it kind of reflects back to the music, you know, like the hip hop and that it's owned by certain group of people and stuff like that. You know, this is the guy who played Remick O'Connell, Jack O'Connell. He's British. Okay, O'Connell was born on August 1990 into a world-class family in Alveston. His father, Johnny Patrick. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah. He played Runaway. This is the movies he played: Godless, Rogue Heroes, Jack O'Connell. Well, he played Remick. So yeah, Jack O'Connell barely featured. First trailer for Sinners released on 20th. Made the trailer. The actor says laughing, as did his backside and a blank shot of his shivering torso. But if you didn't know it was him, you have missed the Thursby lad. That, of course, was a deliberate move from the writer-director Ryan Coogler. Why give away the horror at the heart of the music? Yeah, I mean, so the movie kind of reminded me a little bit of the Till Dusk Till Dawn. You know, that's how I looked at that. You know, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, yeah, I can't tell you like what was it missing. You know, like it had a lot of things in it. You know, yeah, it was like a little musical, but I think there were scenes where it did became a musical where the vampires they started like dancing and all that stuff like that, and you know, yeah. So let me see something. I didn't really know how I wanted to do this. So the person I wanted to come, they said need 10 minutes, so I'm gonna wait. So yeah, okay. I guess I could play this a little bit. No, I'm not even sure. I'll play a little bit.
unique. It was just there's so many good things about this I can say. The costume design, the time period, the cast, guys, the cast. Yes, Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. and Haley Steinfeld, Wumi Musaku and Lee Jun Lee, Omar Benson, Delroy Lindo.
I'm going through some technical difficulties. Uh, yeah, sorry guys, I'm going through some technical difficulties. Yeah, so yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, so do good. It did do good in the box office. Let me see. Hold on. Sinners, Total Orange, Sinners, and Thunderbolts. News about okay. So I might as well move on to the Thunderbolts, man, because yeah, because it's I don't feel like going too deeply into to Sinners too much, unless yeah, okay, hold on. Hmm. Marvel's Thunderbolts will easily. Let me see. Oh Jesus, man, this thing taking so long. I gotta be careful because Marvel's Thunderbolts will easily top the weekend box office after cracking 31.5 million gross across Friday and preview screenings from 4,330 theaters. That puts the ensemble action piece, which follows a ragtag team of Marvel's least superpowered personalities, on pace to land within projections for domestic opening between 70 million and 75 million. The movie also gets a boost in grosses from IMAX and other premium large format auditoriums. Yeah, I mean, to me, the Thunderbolts, it wasn't too bad. Um, It'd be a sizable start for what could be described as a new franchise, though most of the Thunderbolts heroes have already debuted in other Marvel Cinematic Universe entries, but it does demonstrate Marvel Studios' diminished event status at the box office. Should projections hold, the new release will land one of the lower openings of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. it'll also likely fall below the opening of Black Widow. I don't feel like reading all this, guys, but yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. When the movie theater I went to, it was at Nighthawk, and I had like I sat in the first row, and yeah, my neck was after a while, my neck was hurting me because I was so close. I had to get one. I had to. They had limited seats for the Thunderbolts because Thunderbolts it was kind of packed. Yeah, and they made another another big deal with Thunderbolts too. You know, yeah, I mean it was decent. It was decent. It had me laughing. There was some parts it had me laughing too. Yeah, let me put a clip there.
Hey guys, as you can see, I just got out of seeing Thunderbolts. Don't mind me. Get yourself ready. It is a roller coaster of emotions. This is a therapy session for real. Yelena, kick ass. The Winter Soldier, my God, when he does that one wheelie on that motorcycle, kick ass. This is a chef's kiss. 10 out of 10. One of the greatest Marvel movies that I've seen so far. Go ahead and watch it. I'll see you guys. Bye.
I don't know about all that, what she said. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was funny and it had some drama to it, but for those who don't know, Thunderbolts is a superhero team, Marvel Comics, and they were they were criminals reformed into superhero. They team up eventually as a superhero team. So yeah, I the way she's well, everybody's entitled to opinion. You know, I think it was better than a lot of Marvel movies that came out. You know, I thought it was better than Thor, Love and Thunder. I thought it was a little bit better than Guardians of the Galaxy. A little bit. I did. I thought it was better than. I didn't see the recent Captain America with Anthony Mackie. Yeah, um, yeah. So we could look at something with Thunderbolts, something a little bit. Thunderbolts did in the box office. Uh, Thunderbolts, Avengers, Doomsday. And they also had a post-credit scene also. So damn, I forgot where I'm at. Yeah, give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me see. Okay. How the Thunderbolts post-credit scene set up the Fantastic Four first steps. Yeah, the post-credit scene by the end of Thunderbolts, the ragtag group of sidekicks and anti-heroes has emerged as the collective savior of New York. A super soldier serum test subject named Bob Lewis Pullman tries to become the superhero Sentry, but loses control of his powers and becomes the villainous Void. Void captures innocent bystanders and traps them inside their worst memories. Florine Pug Yelena leads the effort to help Bob defeat his dark side and release the citizens of New York from the Void's clutches. Yeah, I did like that. I did. One thing I did like about the movie was they going deep in with Bob and stuff as he had the superpowers, but he had a dark side to his superpowers, and it's based on the comic book and stuff like that. I never read like any Thunderbolt comics and stuff. So, but yeah, so yeah, Bob he took in the comic book he took the super serum, and you know, yeah, he became the Sentry. So yeah, so well, this dude ain't come yet. Jesus. Yeah, so let me see. Let me throw a clip in there.
Well, it's about time we finally get a post-credit scene that actually leads to something. Finally got around to seeing Thunderbolts, and I think it's safe to say that the MCU is back. Yeah, I know people tend to get weary when you say those words, but in this case, bro, I think it's legit this time. I mean, we went Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Thunderbolts, Daredevil Born Again. Like, when was the last time we had them many good MCU projects back to back? I'm just saying. There's two things that I love in a movie: when it exceeds my expectations and when it does exactly what I thought it was going to do. In the case of Thunderbolts, it did exactly what I thought it was going to be. This movie matched exactly what I predicted. Now, while they may not be as diverse and decorated as the Suicide Squad, I must admit, with this small group, I think their origin was a lot more heartfelt. And it's funny because I see myself more in the Thunderbolts than I ever did any of the Avengers. This movie is a true underdog story. It's about proving yourself. It's about proving everybody wrong. I relate to that so much, and I really appreciate this story. Like, genuinely, I'm in love with this story. Dog, listen, without spoilers, just know, this man, you can't even be mad at him, bro. But bro, is this not one of the coldest designs of all time, bro? I don't know how they made a detailed silhouette in live action, but damn, that shit was fantastic. This man had the potential to cause a Thanos snap level catastrophe with no Infinity Stones. Put some respect on his name. I just don't understand why anybody would choose to live in MCU New York. I just don't get it. But speaking of MCU New York, did this motherfucker have the day off or something? Because
Where was your antennas?
when he was blipping everybody away into the void, I swear, Sony, y'all will pay for y'all crimes against humanity, because it's y'all fault why none of this makes sense. Just please give the full rights back to Marvel, because y'all are causing continuity issues and logic issues, and it's upsetting me and my homeboys. And that post-credit scene, chef kiss. The post-credit scene is supposed to tease the very next movie, and it's all supposed to connect and make sense, and it looks like we're finally getting back to that. Overall, man, this movie was actually pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. Marvel, thank you. Y'all doing it right this time.
I don't know if you say so. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad flick. I don't know how the MCU gonna be. All Doomsday and other Marvel movies coming up. So yeah, I mean, I have no idea. So, but the Thunderbolts, I think they from what I've read, I think it was the second place in the weekend's blockbuster. I think Sinners held the title of that. Sinners like the number one movie right now. Yeah, because everybody talking about Sinners. Like God, I'm like, wow. It's yeah, they're hyping it up like Black Panther when it came out, and I'm not gonna lie. When Black Panther came out, like them just talking about it, it made me want to see it. Because when I seen Black Panther, I wasn't I wasn't like so hyped up to see it. I just looked at it, and then I didn't even know if it was going to be that great do good in the box office, really. But then when it was time, when the movie did came out, everybody was talking about it the same way they were talking about Sinners. I mean, Black Panther was like a culture. Everybody was doing the Wakanda Forever hand gesture and all that type of stuff. So, with this, like it's all over the internet. I mean, on YouTube and stuff like that, Sinners, like everybody's making a review about it, So yeah, I mean, yeah, those are my thoughts. I mean, like, yeah. So hold on, let me see something. Check something out. Uh, let me see. Let me see. Is there something I could check out? Thunderbolts writer explains the surprise and original villain. Let me see. Okay. Hold on. This thing be acting crazy. Let me see something, guys. I'm sorry. Uh, hold on. Oh my God! What the hell, yo? Hey, what's? Yeah, you're not connected. Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's up? You all right? You sound frustrated.
No, I was trying to put like I was sharing a video and stuff like that, and then I don't know, it's kind of acting up a little bit. Yeah, I was waiting for you a little bit, but I just kind of proceeded. So yeah, I wanted to know your thoughts about. I know we talked about it um days ago, and you gave your thoughts about it. But yeah, why don't you share your thoughts on Sinners?
I mean, I thought it was pretty good overall. I don't think
Yeah,
it was nothing amazing. I'm not sure what you've been hearing, but
yeah.
it's not a bad movie. It's well made, but it's just um, it's just an it's just a solid movie. I feel like right now, but I don't know. I haven't heard all this overhyped stuff that you're talking about. I think I've seen some
Yeah,
stuff on.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna let you see now.
Y'all, Sinners was not no movie. That was a spiritual manual, if you ask me. How many people watched Sinners and probably thought this is just a vampire movie with a little music added to it? It's so much to unpack. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts. If you have not seen the movie, this is your chance to scroll now. We talking about I ruined it for you. Like I said, Sinners was the whole spiritual download wrapped in a ritual. We gonna start at the juke joint with the twin brothers smoking stag. They came back to Mississippi in the Jim Crow era to open up their black owned juke joint. We all know the juke joint wasn't just no club. That was a sacred space for us. It was a safe zone where black folks could gather, be themselves, dance, laugh, cry, sing. Most importantly, where they could remember who they were. Enter Sammy, their little cousin.
The whole thing, but it's a lot of people. I mean, people kind of link it to politics now. Um, I would say like how especially with the vampires, they kind of represent like a certain party, Democratic Party. Luring black people. A lot of some people look at it as how music, black culture is being taken advantage of by other groups. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I at first, I was like, damn, maybe I should give my thoughts only about like recording it or something, but I wanted like somebody's opinion. That's why, you know, I want, kind of, ask you if you wanted to do it, give your thoughts about it. Yeah, a lot of people, they hyping it up, man. Like it kind, I was saying this earlier, like it kind of reminds me of Black Panther when it first came out, you know.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Black Panther was way overhyped, way overrated. When
yeah,
you look back on it, most people are like, okay, it was a good movie. It's a solid movie. It does have flaws. Like it's not a perfect movie, but black people tend to react very well to pop propaganda. And right now, I feel like there's a lot of hype around Ryan Coogler, and I wonder why. I feel like he's doing something in the industry. Aside from his movies, are all pretty solid. Like I saw all the Creed
yeah,
movies; they're solid. Um, and when I say solid, they're enjoyable films, but they're not stuff that I go back and rewatch over and over and over again. Like
right,
so they're good, and I enjoy. I can't say I've ever seen a film of his that I thought was bad, but it's also not what some of the like what that one lady like. I feel like there's people who are paid to hype stuff up, and then the rest of
mm,
the internet or the algorithms like start to cause everyone to jump on the bandwagon. And it, I mean, I haven't heard all of this like, oh, it's amazing, it's this spiritual thing in person. And it's funny
yeah,
because when I left my theater, even though I'm here in San Diego, there's a lot of black people in there. Everyone was just quiet when they left. Like no one was saying like this movie's amazing. No one was saying it's bad. They were just like, like during the movie, people laughed at certain points, the parts that are supposed to be laughed at. Like,
right,
people were entertained at times, but there wasn't this mass feeling like we just watched something amazing or transformative. I did see through the
right,
vampires that they are an allegory, but the truth is, one of the things I didn't like about the vampires, they made the main one an Irish dude, and Irish people have not historically been the ones to vampire off of black culture or black like English people. The English are the ones who are more likely have been historically the ones to like oppress and use black and exploit black people. And then if you're talking about music, several European groups, but um, like one of the words I guess people are too afraid to say now, but like Jews have controlled and manipulated, especially when it comes to hip hop, um, the industry and vampired and leached off of that. So I understand the vampire like
right,
metaphor, but it was done
right,
poorly. It was done poorly just because they should have had the vampires in. They came out of nowhere literally in the very middle of the movie. Like there was no build
yeah,
up to them at all. They just come up in the middle of the movie out of nowhere. They have no relationship to the characters at all. Like the main villain, the main vampire Remick, he has no history with any of the characters. So
right.
there's no emotional buildup. There's no like, okay, yeah, we see these vampires coming up and they're about to come wreck this party, but this is halfway through the movie, and then when they show up and they start to wreck shit up, they rushed it. Like they really rushed that part of the movie.
Right. Yeah. I know there's people that kind of like looked at it similar to Dust Till Dawn with the vampires and stuff. But I think the difference were like they couldn't get in. You had to invite them in and stuff. I think the recent before Sinners, I watched this movie that it was called Let Me In. Let me come in or something like that. It was like a vampire, like a girl. You had to invite her in, and she had like these human allies that would help her like get like victims. Like there was this one dude. he met her when he was a kid, and so he grew up, and he was helping her, like, you know, like if she killed somebody, he would like clean up her mess and stuff like that. So yeah, that's like the recent vampire movie I seen. I liked it. It was cool. Yeah.
What is so significant about this movie to you? Because
The
I found it interesting.
significance.
Yeah, I was like, I found it interesting that you wanted to talk about this.
No, I mean, I guess because everybody is talking about it. So I was like, I didn't really, I thought it was decent, but I didn't think it was all that. You
Who
know,
is everybody though? Is it everybody online or people in
well,
person?
online. I mean,
That's what I
like,
mean by the whole media hype.
well,
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch, like, I'm gonna show you like the videos and stuff a little bit. I don't. Let me see. Let me see what stuff I could show you without. I'll hold on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talking about it. So I just figured, why not?
What
I'll
I'm
play
getting at
some
is it people online,
whatever.
because in real person I don't hear anyone talking about it, honestly. Like in real person, no one's saying anything. Like when
Nah.
I'm going out and about, like no one's saying anything
Yeah.
about it.
That's interesting.
That's why I'm like, and you're in
That's
New York.
interesting. Hold
I
on. Let
figured
me
if you're around, like you're probably
Hello?
around. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was saying that
Yeah.
you're probably where you're at in New York. I'm assuming you're probably around more black people than I am. So I don't know if you're hearing them talking about it up and down the streets. Like I heard one person
No,
mention it.
not like that. Not like that, but but on YouTube, it's all over YouTube and stuff. So let me see. Okay, I got this one right here. This chick right here. Let me see if you can see this. Okay.
Goddamn. Another thing that has kept me away is that I've been dealing with my recent identity theft situation. I don't know if y'all thought I was playing when I said the scammers was out here scamming and I got and I was in a data breach. So I've been busy trying. And I said on my TikTok, I was a little offended because I seen that a lot of palm colored, a lot of white, spooky creators were invited to viewings. I did not see any African American hoodoo practitioners watch this movie, view this movie. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, Ryan, you better check your social media team. Okay. But nonetheless, it was a
It's breaking up. I don't
I
know if
spun the
it's because of you
block the
or
next day. I couldn't stop thinking about the movie and conversing with people about the
Yeah, you
you're breaking up. I'm getting a bunch of not feedback, but like you're not coming in and out very clearly.
Oh shit. Can you hear me? Oh yeah, you can hear me now.
I can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, did you hear some of that stuff what she was saying?
She just said something about some voodoo or hoodoo people weren't invited, or
Oh,
she just saw a lot of white people there. I'm like, of course, it's Hollywood.
oh.
What would you expect? Like,
Yeah, she was saying it was a masterpiece and stuff. So, she felt that it was a masterpiece.
but she didn't explain why it was a masterpiece. Did she go into any? So here's the thing
Oh,
that's coming across when it comes to these shill reviewers, like people who just want to hype stuff up just to be hyping them up.
Right.
None of those, because I've come across some reviews, and it's mostly by white people that actually love the movie, but they're not really breaking it down like all that great. And then in the comment section, most everyone's saying it's great, it's great, it's great, blah blah blah. But a few
Yeah.
people who like disagree, who are just like, oh, it was okay, or some think it was bad. Yeah, it's funny. People start attacking them, and they're like, "Oh, you disagreeing tells me everything about you." Blah blah blah. But they don't ever go in depth on what they really thought was so amazing about the movie, other than, oh, it was a metaphor for white people vampiring. Like, bro, that's obvious in the movie. That's like, it doesn't take no deep revelation. A kid could sit
Right.
there and figure that out. But what I'm getting at is that it seems like some of these people are just either they're just hyping it up to try to feel a part of something special, like this is the new big black movie release by Ryan Coogler, the guy that did Black Panther, and then you got Michael B. Jordan. And now Michael B. Jordan did an excellent job acting in this role. Like the actors actors all were amazing. I think all the actors were amazing. I feel like the story was just
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it was all over the place. And the first half of the movie, a lot of stuff didn't belong in there. Like it was like an extra world building stuff that had no place. Like the stuff with him sitting, him having the girl honk on the car and all that. Like him spending time trying to teach her to negotiate and stuff like that. It didn't do anything to add to the story. It's cool. It's well shot out. It's well acted. But one of the biggest things they teach with writing stories and all that type of stuff is learning how to trim the fat off of a lot of stuff. There also wasn't a lot of character development. I mean, Sammy had character development. The singer, but he really didn't act on his character development because he basically did what he was initially wanting to do at the very beginning of the movie, which is leave the church and go, pursue a blues singing career. So he didn't really learn any lesson from his whole experience, which you'd be like that should traumatize the crap out of you. I'm not saying he made the wrong decision either. I think he actually made the right decision in continuing to pursue his dream, but it just doesn't make sense in the context of the story. It's like what?
I mean, I think, with that scene where, his father tell him he got to make a choice and stuff. I think, and he goes with the blues. I think it kind of was pointing out the stuff that he experienced. He knew that, the music that he was doing, it was attracting these demons, these vampires or whatever. And
but
so
he still doubled
he's
down.
still right, exactly.
He didn't learn anything from it. So you can still double down on it, but it's like he should learn something new with how he uses the music. But I don't like the fact that they tried to. That's another thing that I didn't really like is that they tried to associate it blues music is what causes these evil spirits to come. It's like, bro,
they was kind of putting the Robert Johnson story about him, encountering the devil. He wasn't a good player. He wasn't a guitarist. And so he was walking through the crossroads and he met with the devil. And so the devil tuned his guitar and gave it, and he offered him he offered him to be a better blues guitarist for his soul. Some of that was a little bit pieces of it was there in that.
But he didn't actually get the devil and he already had great skill. From the very beginning of the movie, he had great skill. So he didn't need any help from the devil. So it's almost I
would say it's a vice versa type of thing. like his music was attracting these demons and stuff. And it's like and some people don't talk about this, but remember that scene where he's at the juke joint, and then you see like the rock and roll guitarist. It transcends first. It kind of went to African music, and then it moved on to that. I was looking at it as a degeneracy, because music was more of like showing respect to higher beings and stuff, spirits and stuff like that, and
I can see the
it some
degeneracy thing that you're talking about, because I found it interesting that they didn't show soul music at all. Like, that's
yeah
a big genre to skip over. Like, you don't show soul and R&B. Instead, you show the African tribal stuff, which was a cool scene. I like that scene
yeah
a lot. I thought that
yeah
scene was really dope. Honestly, they could have done a musical where the whole movie was just like stuff like that, and I think it would have been a
right
much better movie. But
yeah
anyway, the whole like, I felt like it was wrong for them to, like, I guess if you want to say that punk rock music is degenerate, but it is kind of true that maybe. But then they went into hip hop, and early hip hop was not just degeneracy. Like when they were showing the b-boys dancing and stuff like that, that was like more pure hip hop. That's before it became all this. Like at the end of that clip, they showed the ratchet hip hop with the girls twerking and people just, hey, hey, hey. That was like, I was like, bro, that clip, that part of the whole music stuff was the
right
most. It didn't belong there. Like, you have all these other like cool art forms. You even got the Asian like it seemed like they were geishas dancing. And then all of a sudden, towards the end in the back corner, you got these people twerking and stuff, and it's just like, no, bro, that was that. I know
yeah
why
I
they
mean
did it. They did it
yeah
because it's popular today. That's the
yeah
mainstream, and that's the type
it,
of music they want to promote. Honestly,
right yeah so I don't I haven't heard nobody really touched on that, with
I'm just
that.
upset that they didn't put the soul music in the R&B. Like, that's a big.
Yeah, I didn't
You
thought
didn't
about
put
that. I
soul. You
didn't think
didn't put
about that.
funk. Like that. Like, that's a like you skipped a lot of huge, important black music.
Yeah,
And just went straight to the rock. I didn't have any problem with the rock. Some people think that he was supposed to be like Jimi Hendrix. I didn't have any problem with him being in there. I didn't have
yeah,
any problem with the hip hop and stuff, but to really skip out on a lot of other great, like, you could have at least had like someone like the Temptations in there, like
mm,
dancing at one point, because that
yeah,
it's almost like they're trying to hide that type of music from the history of black music. I
mm,
mean, when you omit it, like, because bro, think about it. When we were growing up, and we're after the Temptations when we were growing
right.
up, but we still heard them left and right, and
Yeah,
everybody singing that stuff. Like, you'll
yeah.
still hear it today.
They made a comeback though, like in the '80s. They did make a comeback, like in 80 somewhere in the '80s.
They ain't have no Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, bro, Earth, Wind, and
Yeah,
Fire is still like one of, like, if you think about like black music from from back in the
man.
day, played a lot, like everywhere you go.
Yeah, I feel you.
Michael Jackson, and then right behind that is like Earth, Wind, and Fire, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah,
I mean, if you went into this much detail with that movie, which they did, then they left those types of groups and stuff out on purpose, or that style of music, they left it out on purpose. And so this is
right,
why I'm skeptical about what you're talking about with the hype of this movie. I don't
yeah,
trust. I don't trust. Like, I don't think Ryan Coogler had full say on what he could do in the movie. Like, the truth is, these directors, especially if you're a black director, you got to do
yeah,
what these white owners, producers, what they want you to do at the end of the day. It
yeah,
ain't all like what your creative vision is. Yes, he has a style and he gets to put quite a bit of stuff in there, but there's a lot of stuff that they want to push. And when I watch these movies, what I'm thinking the whole time I'm watching them is what type of programming are they trying to do on black people? Because that's generally the history of our race in this country
You
is
get
whenever big
manipulated.
yes. And even this, when people are coming out saying, oh, they're trying to wake people up or they're trying to what's it called? Like it's a metaphor for people vampiring, blah blah blah. Well, I'm like, they're coming out with this stuff for a reason, and they're trying to lull more of you in with their bullshit. Like, especially when you
Yeah.
said that they like something about has to do with like the Democrats or something like that.
Yeah.
Like anytime they start using politics, because I'm not for either political party. I don't
Right.
trust either one of the motherfuckers. I
Right.
think they both are meant to fuck not just black people up, but just all regular American citizens up.
Right. Well, you go. Well, listen to this person. What he says. I'll play a little bit of it.
Now, what is it we supposed to be doing? Being kind to one another.
People are not talking about Cornbread's character in that specific scene enough. Obviously, this scene kicks off the main climax and where all the action begins, and we see that the characters find out that they're dealing with vampires. But this scene specifically, when Cornbread comes back to the juke joint after he's been turned into the undead, into a vampire, them inside of the juke joint, they don't necessarily know what's going on, but Annie, who is someone who is a practitioner of the occult dark arts and hoodoo and things of that nature, and she's more knowledgeable of the supernatural, she's challenging him because she knows that something's off, and she's already starting to plant the seeds to the people in the juke joint that he can't come in here uninvited, which, as we know in vampire lore, vampires cannot come into your home or enter into your life or being without your invitation. I said this on my other video and talks about in regards to how this is how sin works as well too, and how the devil and the powers that be try to also infiltrate your spirit in your life, but they can only do so with your consent and your willingness to do so. Now, if you go back to that scene, I just stitched this. The part when the older gentleman who's the drunkard and he says, well, what is that we're supposed to be doing? And then Cornbread goes, being kind to one another. And it's this big grandiose type of gesture, just trying to, making it seem like, this of course is what we're supposed to be doing. And he goes on to say, we're all one people. Now, where else have we heard that type of rhetoric before? I'm not going to get too deep into it because this is a platform that loves to flag. But if you go back and listen to that scene, when Cornbread, and he's talking about like, oh, we're being kind to one another. We're all one people. We're all the same. And if you've heard that before, it's also in regards to this agenda that's being pushed. And I mean, when I say agenda, like you can actually research how there's different types of like, when you talk about like New World Order, there's different doctrines that talk about this whole concept of leading society on a world systemic, like societal basis of this goal of being a one people with a one gender, a one religion, a one type of race, a one sexuality. And it's all the agenda. It's all going in. So the way that they're able to kind of push this, because if you really...
What did you think about what he said?
That dude's reaching. He's pulling a bunch of bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
bro, like, yeah, there's some truth to like the government's trying to like simplify all this other stuff, but people reach for that. That conspiracy has been going on for like, what's it, like 20 years now. Like, and I don't think that was part of the whole Cornbread thing. When I saw Cornbread say all that, it sounds just like a hippie from California would say, so, but to say that this is now like that's what the vampires were trying to do, they do seem a little bit like that, but at the end of the day, like the movie didn't do a good job, and it really. And this is why some people are just throwing or reaching for symbolism, because the movie doesn't show that that's what they're trying to create at all. Is some one world government. Never once do the vampires, from what I remember. I mean, they did say something about they just all want to have a good time, that type of thing. But that's because they were trying to break the defenses of Smoke and Stack and all the people in the party. They're trying to weasel their way in so they can suck their blood and fucking feed off of them.
Right.
Like they're trying to tie that into the whole one world government type of thing is like that's a stretch. I'm not saying that it couldn't be in there, but like people be trying to throw some of these conspiracies into everything. And here's the thing: when you try to put the conspiracies into everything, like eventually some people are like, bro, this is like some of y'all are on some BS. And then it causes people to look at conspiracies like, oh, like all of them are false. When in reality, a lot of them are true. It's just people are like, it's almost like they're abusing them right now. Like, so this dude, him throwing his interpretation, like he's completely entitled to do that, but I'm just like, bro, the dude's either just trying to get clicks or he's being paid to fucking try to pull some, to push some bullshit.
Yeah. I could agree because I don't know about that one government, one people or one race and one sexuality.
There was nothing in there, nothing in the movie hinted at anything like that. This dude is just throwing his own
I would say,
into it.
now I would say like the vampires, they wasn't looking at color or anything like that.
I can agree
they
with that.
And they were like a family.
And that's what's funny and that's why I don't like the fact that they used the Irish person, because Irish people and black people actually did used to be somewhat cool with each other in this nation before they came up with the whole concept of race or white versus black. Like Irish people were not considered white back in the day.
Yeah, I heard.
The English people hated them. English fucking hated them, but the English created that whole concept of like this white race and unity to kind of like create more like stepping stones, like black people at the bottom, and then we're gonna let like Irish and Italians and Jews be like a level above them. But this whole like when I saw from the vampires, honestly, their behavior is very similar to what you've seen from, like, if you looked at like a lot of the Communist Party members who
I was saying that same thing. I was saying the same thing. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That because I've been learning about communism and the Maoists. What's his name? Vladimir Lenin. He had people. I think that's how black people. Where people kind of look at black people as when they destroy their own property. That's where they get it from, like with Maoism, and because a lot of black people, especially the Black Panthers, they were very encouraged. They were very influenced by that, and they wanted to emulate that type of that behavior that what they're doing now. People
a lot of black civil rights leaders were influenced by communism, but they weren't trying to take it to that level of extreme. Like I think the Communist Party, like I remember reading Richard Wright. He was a black author from back in the day, and he was lured in by the Communist Party, but he ended up realizing like they were really extreme because they lured in with the whole like everybody's equal, and a lot of the Communist Party members were Jewish, from according to his experience. And I'm not anti-Semitic or anti-Jewish or anything like that, but you have to look at the history of the people that go in and try to lure black people in as their allies, and then go and stab them in the back over and over and over again. and they're very good at hiding the way they do it because they control the media, and the media shapes people's minds. Television, music, mainstream stuff, all that stuff is very an education system. It's very influential on shaping people's minds. So, whenever they have studied the way our group of people, and I am sometimes iffy about lumping all black people together, but it's for the sake of this discussion, I will. But they constantly have mastered these outside groups, Europeans, and not all Europeans either. Like, I hate sometimes generalizing it, because we can't sit there and look at every freaking country and people from Europe who are actively exploiting black people throughout history. That's not been the case at all. It's been several of them on the western side of Europe who have, but they go and they continue to master ways of manipulating black people as a whole. And one of the main ways is through emotional stuff. We are a very emotional people. And the fact that we are economically at the bottom still in this country, as well as the history that we've had in the past of being constantly oppressed, makes us very susceptible to anything that'll make us feel good. And these people who run the media, they know that stuff, and they know when to start whipping it out like magic to get us all hooked up.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you. That's why I kept asking you. Is it like, are you seeing this stuff happening on real life, or are you seeing it on the internet? Because
on the internet, majority of the times, I mean,
when it's hype on the internet, the internet, and here's the thing you got to think about. If it's hype on the internet, but when you're walking down the streets of New York, you're not hearing people talk about this movie like that. You gotta wonder. Is this something people are really talking about, or is this something that people are jumping on to try to get more clicks and likes, or are they getting paid for this type of shit to promote
that's why I wanted to do. That's why I wanted to do this discussion. Because I know, everybody wasn't. I know the movie wasn't all that. that's why I wanted to do it.
Yeah, the movie is just solid. It's not a bad movie. Like I thought when you told me to go watch it, I thought it was going to be a bad movie. So when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, this is enjoyable." It's slow. I was sitting there thinking to myself, like around even the 30-minute mark, I was like, "Okay, we need to start like picking up like the pace or like what the plot is really going to be about, like that type of shit." But I was still like, "Okay, the scenes are all enjoyable. It's like a little bit like a character drama, but then." It does get really good at parts, but those good parts are super rushed. And I was just like, whoa, this is not a very, it's a well-made film technically, but in terms of the story, I'm like, man, here's the thing. It was so well made that it could have been a great movie. Like, I feel like when I was watching it, I was like, bro, this had the makings of something that could have been like really, really good. Not like greatest movie of all time type of shit, but just something that people are like, oh, bro, this was the best movie of 2025, that type of thing. And no, it falls short of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, my friend didn't like it. He's not black, and he was like it started off slow, and just for it. He was saying that he felt he was looking at it as a musical.
It should have been a musical. I think it would have been better had it been a musical, just to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and so I not to cut you off, but so I was asking him like, he said it took an hour just for the action. So I was asking him like, what was the focus on segregation in the 1930s? Was it hard for you to kind of get into it because of the focus of segregation in the 1930s? And then he didn't respond. So I don't know.
I mean, honestly, if they would have just focused on that, it would have been a good movie. If they would have just like, instead, like if they took out the because they did such a good job with the world building. They really did throw us into what it was like to live in that time.
Right.
So if they just would have focused on it being about, the segregation, and then also just, this blacks doing their own things, and then also, you know, maneuvering through groups like the Ku Klux Klan, and then also just, dealing with, their everyday interactions with white people and, a few other races. That would have been fine. Could have been a character drama, but I don't think it needed to be like a movie about race, because that's one of the things I kind of liked about the movie until the whole KKK scene at the end.
I was saying that. Not go ahead. Go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, I hold on. I gotta use the restroom real quick, but I wanna
right.
jump back in, and we can. I'll let you start, and then I'll jump back in on what I wanna say
All
about
right.
that. Hold on one second.
All right. So I'll probably play a video or something. Let me see. Hold on, guys. So I'll play something on YouTube or something like that. Let me see. Hold on. Yes. YouTube. Okay.
The musical performances in this movie are chilling and incredible. What was it like experiencing those musical numbers on set and even reading them in the script?
My brain immediately goes to our read through. That was the first time I heard Miles sing and play the guitar. And that was the first time we heard all the music.
Okay. So I'll take that out. Yeah. So what you were saying?
Damn. I started to lose.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I started to lose.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was saying I'm started to lose. What was I saying before? In terms of
you said if
the KKK thing was added so abruptly at the end, it was kind of stupid. It's like, bro, they haven't been a factor in this whole movie, really. And then all of a sudden, aside from them being mentioned from times, but then all of a sudden you're gonna have this big epic battle with them at the end. Like, that came out of nowhere, and that was just some shit to get black people like, oh yeah, it's like, but
yeah.
It had nothing. It really, that scene could have been left out, or make the whole movie about that shit.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because there were white people in the theater there, and I'm like wanted to know, I was kind of curious, what was their thoughts about it, because you know how white people are, when they see certain things, especially relating to slavery, a lot of them they're still funny about that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, bro. Most white people in America today, especially if you're living in states like New York and California, they don't agree with groups like the KKK. They look at them as crazy extremists,
Right.
What I think white people feel, though, is uncomfortable, because they're just like, didn't we get past this already? Like, why are y'all, focusing on them? But the thing is, I can agree with them in the context of this movie. Like the movie shoehorning them in at the end.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything to make the movie better. And it was one of those things where it's like propaganda. Like let's get both white people and black people riled up with this last scene. And that's the thing people gotta understand. We as black people gotta understand. People that run the movie industry, they know how to use racism and shit to get us both sides riled up and hating each other when they're the ones benefiting off of that bullshit, you know?
Right.
Like just like how they used to fucking hate the Irish, the English that is, and they sit there and go and create this idea of, well, all white people being like under one race of type shit. It was a way to get black people and Irish people to start like looking at each other sideways. You know, it's like the divide and conquer strategy. And the white people who run the movie industry, they don't like the average white person, but they're gonna make them think like, oh yeah, we're for you or whatever. Or like right now, the mainstream media is trying to make it seem like they really like black people, but bro, they like brainwashing black people. They don't fucking like black people. Like, I fucking hate the mainstream media, like with a passion.
Right. And the thing is, not too long ago, there was a stabbing, you know, with the kid in Texas, and he stabbed the white dude because the white dude, from what I know, he was bullying he wanted him to get out the tent and stuff. It was raining, so the black kid, he was sitting there, he was sitting on the tent or something like that. I think it was like a track field or something, a track field. And so the white kid approached him, told him to get out, and so I don't know, the black kid stabbed him, and so that was a news about race and all that stuff. So when I seen this movie, it was like, oh boy, now we going through the present, now we going to the past, you know. So
yeah, they gonna do that. They're gonna do that like clockwork, bro. Like if you really pay attention, if you really pay attention, like usually during election years is the years when the media really starts to hype up race shit. Like go back to the year when Donald Trump was first elected, like leading up to that presidency, you had a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff. You had, and even when Barack was in, you had the Michael Brown, the police stuff. But it was always usually during election years when they start to ramp it up. When like this stuff goes on year round, every year throughout. You know, like racism hasn't ended. And it's never going to end. Like you know, people want to pretend like it could end. The truth is, it could end. But the problem is, we're all raised to believe in this illusion called race. You know, race is a construct that was created. You know, I'm not going to say by white people. It's been around for a long time, but it was definitely weaponized by Western Europeans, especially based on skin tone, to a point now where we're all brainwashed with it. You know, we are really psychologically brainwashed with it. And it's so much a part of our country's history that we are like almost in a way indoctrinated with it. So that's why I say like racism, you know, there's always going to be acts of hatred and you know, race-based type of stuff. Or here's the thing, that whole thing about the white person stabbing that dude. You know what's funny is you talk about how the dude said, I guess the white dude was mad that he didn't get up and do the 10 or some shit like that. Could have been just an angry, crazy white person who fucking just went off at the wrong moment and he decided to stab this guy because maybe he has a history with him. He fucking hates him or whatever. We can't always assume that when a crime happens between a white and a black person that it's always race motivated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
I'm not trying to throw the dude off the hook. I mean, he definitely shouldn't have done that shit. It may have been race related. I know that there's a lot of white people in the country that are racist as fuck. They just know how to hide it. They know how to hide it
Yeah,
or
that's the thing.
they're waiting for the day when they can you know, unleash it. But here's I'm gonna throw in the caveat, and this is something that black people fucking hate hearing. There's a lot of racist black people too. You can be racist and be black. I don't want to hear this shit about we can't be racist because we don't run the economic system and the social structure. And it's like, nah, man. Racism is basically the belief that your race, one race is superior or inferior to others, you know, and acting upon like hatred and trying to in a way it could be bullying, all this other shit. All groups of people have that propensity or the ability to do that. It's just most obvious to us when white people are doing it because historically in this country they have been the ones doing it to us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said a mouthful. You said a mouthful. That's why I wanted you to. That's why I wanted your perspective on it. You know, did you see? I don't think you seen whatchamacallit, another hype on movie was Marvel's Thunderbolts. I seen that on Friday. I was discussing it earlier.
I heard it
I seen
sucked, and it looked like it sucked. Like I heard it was bad.
I wouldn't say it sucked. I thought it was okay. It wasn't a bad flick. I mean, there was some parts it had me laughing and stuff like that. You know, listen to what this girl say about it.
Hey guys, as you can see, I just got out of seeing Thunderbolts. Don't mind me. Get yourself ready. It is a roller coaster of emotions. This is a therapy session, for real. Yelena, kick ass. The Winter Soldier, my God. When he does that one wheelie on that motorcycle, kick ass. This is a chef's kiss. 10 out of 10. One of the greatest Marvel movies that I've seen so far. Go ahead and watch it.
Exaggerating, but you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, it sounds like she's paid by Marvel to come out here and pull. This is what I'm saying. These YouTubers and TikTokers and influencers, man, a lot of them just look. It looks to me like they're doing everything they can either to get popular, become popular, get rewarded by the algorithm, or they're paid by the industry. They actually work for Marvel or some shit, and they're fucking like paid to go out here and do that shit. Like,
but they could pay me. I'll do that.
You do that stuff?
I mean, if I was getting paid to do it, why not?
Nah, fuck that. I'm all about authenticity, man. I'm serious. I'm about authenticity, man. I could never. I couldn't be paid to sit there and come out of, say, a movie that I thought, not even a movie that.
But it's not truthful. I get it.
I just can't do that. It's just not to me. And that's why those people would never come to someone like me to like bro, like, you know, like, that's another thing too, man. Like, people, we gotta have standards on the truth and like authenticity. Like, we're living in an increasingly fake world because the internet is making it easy for people to be fake. Because popularity or money. But the truth is, money, like, especially in my experience, money, especially when you're doing it for fake reasons, like you're not being true to yourself, it actually comes and goes very fast. Like you end up spending it a lot, or, you know, like you're not using wisdom with it, or all of a sudden like a bunch of just crazy shit happens. Like, I'm not saying that's universal, but just doing, like, trying to be inauthentic just to get money, like, that's one of the main traps that white people have used against black people, you know, since post-slavery, is like, okay, we're gonna make you like obsess over money and materialism, and we're gonna use that as a fucking as a lure. We're gonna get you to compromise your morals at all costs, so that we can, you know, pay you to hype some other shit up. Like, think about it. Think about if you were being paid to hype stuff up that, you know, deep down was detrimental to the black community, detrimental to your family members, or to, say, your nieces, or just a little friend that you friends, or like up and coming youngsters. Like, think about that. Like, if you know what you're being paid to do is detrimental to those people, yet you're still willing to do it, like, bro, I wouldn't want to be. I don't want to be around people like that. And I'm just saying what I've seen with the hip hop industry. The hip hop industry has become that. Like rap today, when we talk about, like, everybody knows rap today sucks. Like, as a whole, it fucking sucks because it's dumb and the lyrics. I mean, it's dumb and the lyrics are all about raunchy fucking degradation and all this other type of stuff. But the reason why people continue to put that stuff out there is because, hey, they're getting paid to do it, and it's mainly meant to influence the minds of young people, particularly young Black, and I will say Hispanics as well. It's poison, but they continue to get artists to come out there and do it because there's no shortage of artists who are like, you know what, I just want to get paid. You know, some of them are ignorant to the whole fact, but that I just went on a long tangent just because I'm just like, man, I couldn't. I can't be paid to, like, I mean, I struggle with getting paid to do art on drawings that I don't like doing. But you know, it's a passion that I have. So
you was gonna show me some of your drawings.
I'm not gonna show you some. I was gonna show you just one I'm working on.
Yeah, you could show me. Yeah, why not? You could show me. Hold on.
It's not done. You're probably not gonna be able to see it that well. Just be honest.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a chick. Yeah, it's a chick boxer. You like drawing the boxer chicks. Yeah, I have a thing for that.
You do?
No, you.
Oh, I thought you said you do. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you have a thing for drawing the boxer thing.
I haven't been drawing them as much, but I've been playing around with drawing these really plus sized ones, but still muscular. Right. Like you can tell they work out or they're strong as fuck, but they're like, you know, more built like the what's it called? The old, you know, like the old Renaissance type of woman, like really curvy. But I'm doing that, and then I'm playing around. Like I was using Timmy Turner's mom as like the design for the hair and for the face of this character. But yeah, that's the stuff I'm into. You know, what's funny is and that's why I feel like it's funny hearing you and George talk and all that. Like I listened to the interview and stuff that y'all did today. I'm glad you chimed in a few things at the end. Like sometimes I'll be like, bro, you need to talk more on there. Like sometimes I just feel like
I mean, yo, sometimes like I be knowing what you're talking about because sometimes I see some clips and you know he sometimes I don't be saying nothing. I'm just there. I'm like, damn, you don't have no clips of me saying something, but you know, the thing is, you know, they go real deep into the muscle thing, and I'm just not really aligned with that all the time. Like, you know.
Well, then you gotta go research it. Research some of the stuff they talking about, or you know, because you got to realize, like, why am I on here talking about this stuff if I'm not really that well knowledgeable about it, or if I don't care?
Yeah, I got you.
You know?
I got you.
Like the stuff that
I try to do it as much as I can, but after a while, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think I think I like the fetish part more than the sport. Really?
Yeah, bro, I can see that with both of y'all. Even George is the same way. I can see that when I'm watching, bro. Like, and here's the thing: these women can see that too. Like,
yeah, I know.
Nancy was very good on the show today. Like, Nancy Lewis
was cool.
She was very knowledgeable. You know, she, I mean, I felt like she was, you know, like, I'm not saying that she could just carry a whole show by herself, but whenever she was speaking, it's like, okay, she's definitely giving good insight, perspective, blah, blah, blah. George, just to be honest, you know, I like George, but the truth is it seems like he's talking more about the competition stuff But in reality,
Yeah.
what he's mainly interested in is the muscle fetish, worship, that type of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Mm.
but I can see through it because I'm just like, just come. I mean, he has come out a few
Well,
times.
he do say he's a savage perv, the savage perv and stuff, a
No,
muscle
I know
perv smo.
he lets some of that stuff out. But here's the thing: if you're gonna be professional on your show, like either keep it professional or just go ahead and be like, look, this is really about a muscle guy that just wants to see y'all. like he had something about the whole oil and stuff earlier today, and you could hear it in his voice. Like I was working out and I heard it and I just started kind of giggling because I was just like his voice changing everything when he was talking about the oil and all that. And I was like, bro, this is what you really want to talk about. You know you don't want to.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about
Bro,
when they showed a picture of Nancy
yeah.
Lewis getting all
Bro,
George
that's
or
what
something
he really
else.
wants to talk about. He don't want to really talk about because that's the thing I noticed too is like earlier on the show like the shit was getting repetitive about the whole this division is starting to blur into this one and like bro we can see that it's not
Yeah,
good, it's not right, but it's like it is what it is. But they kind of kept circling back to that conversation and I was like, oh, when are they
yeah,
gonna get interesting? And then he talks about Nancy from her days competing, and then that's when he started to get excited, and I was like, this is what he really wants to talk about, like.
yeah.
And then when you
Yeah, he
talked
did.
about,
He liked her. He likes her. He like her. I know he
I like
want to be
Nancy
more than.
Lewis back in the day. I liked her too. Like she's one of my favorite.
No, yeah, I'm just saying. Like I know, I know he want to be more than he want to be more than friends with her. I know that. Ain't he talking about that's her friend? No, you just like her. She's cool, but I don't know about that friend stuff. If you lusted
Yeah,
over her, but
I heard that too, and I'm like, George, have you ever met her? Like, is she really your friend? Like, come on, bro. Like,
y'all cool, but that's it. But
I'm not gonna rain on his parade, but I'm just like, I think as he continues to do this, as both of y'all continue to do this, one of the things y'all have to be aware of, not all of these girls are dumb. Like
yeah,
a lot of them can tell, like, okay. And the reason I know this is because look, man, when I'm drawing some of these girls, some of these girls, they so perceptive. They're like, yeah, this dude is putting on an air of like he wants to draw and I do, like that's my career. Like I really
yeah,
like this is how I make a living. But
yeah,
some of them can sense when it's like, okay, yeah, he wants to draw me, but he also wants to undress me. So like some of them they gonna like they start to when they get that sense they keep to themselves, and I respect that. Like it's like that's there's nothing wrong with them having that filter, and there's nothing wrong with me making money from being able to draw muscular women and then also draw other people as a
But
part of
don't
that.
you think, not to cut you off, but don't you think it's a lot of people that think that way? Like a lot of us, like as the female bodybuilder fan community, that
Bro, all of the female bodybuilder fans are lusting after these women. This is no, and that's one of the reasons why. Um, I remember that clip you showed me of that girl who was arguing with George a little bit, and
right.
she was challenging him a little bit about his, what he's doing with his life. Like, why do you, she was like, why do you admire female bodybuilders so much, but then, kind of like you're not going and putting work into the gym or anything yourself. Like, I'm kind of losing track with where I was trying to head with that, but she was getting at the point that she could see that, bro, you're not really interested in our sport. That's kind of what she was doing, was putting it on blast, like in a subtle way. She was being very respectful, but like, I know that you're not really a fan of the sport. Like you want to go see all the competitions because you really want to see the sport do well, and you really really, really, really are attracted to these women and really want to, do some freaky things with them, but you're trying to play like you're almost like a professional interviewer, um, and um, they have a filter for that, and I kind of hope that George doesn't hear this interview because it kind of feels like I'm talking shit about him. But the truth is, um, they can see through a lot of it. And this is one of the reasons too why you don't see me drawing. If you've paid attention to my recent posts, I don't post that much anymore, and I don't draw as many female bodybuilders based on real women anymore because you know they can see that I'm attracted to them and that this is something that you know I want to do more than just draw these women, if that can be clear. And as while I'm realizing that, I realize like they're not as attractive as I used to think they were either. That's why I'm sitting here drawing a super round muscle woman versus like a conscious type of woman. But I don't know. I'm not going out of my way to market myself anymore as like a professional artist who's trying to encourage or enhance female bodybuilding. I actually used to. I used to be like, man, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna like use my art and make muscle women like more appealing to the masses. The very egocentric way of thinking because the masses just don't want to see that shit.
It's true.
I don't know if they'll
That's
ever.
why they doing that fit model thing. One of the
Exactly.
reasons. Yeah.
And the girls who get into female bodybuilding gotta understand that. Like, bro, like you all, as far as we can see within human history for the next 100 years, you all are not gonna ever crack being a mainstream appeal. People of y'all every now and then, like say someone like a China or something like that. But think about it, like China's more known for wrestling. She's not known for bodybuilding. That's another thing too. These women don't realize people get bored of watching you all just pose all day. Like the schmoes love that shit, but the schmoes are dudes that want to sit there and worship the muscles and and bang you while worshiping the muscles. The average human being is not interested in seeing you all pose all day. It is such a boring. It's a boring industry, and I've been to several of these shows, and I'm just like, once you see one amazing body, you've seen them all. Basically, they all start to look the same. The routines are all the same. So that's why I liked when you threw in earlier or later in the show when you said, maybe they could do something athletic or something. I was like, yes, that's exactly what they need to do. If they want to start getting more money and stuff, these women need to start showing that they know how to use their muscles. Like,
it's all of them. I mean, it's not just the women bodybuilders, but it's all of them. Like, except with the exception of the fitness division. I mean, like, all they do is just pose. Yeah, that's the most exciting one because they do jumps and then they do like flips and stuff like that, and that's it. I don't even watch it like that, but when I see it, it's like, wow, that's cool what they doing. I'm like, wow. But no, go ahead.
When I've been in person, and I remember being mesmerized by the fitness division on TV because of all that amazing stuff. But I remember in person, like at Olympia and stuff, getting so bored of the routines. But then when the fitness women come on, it does become exciting, and the audience reacts to it because it's like some of them are doing similar stuff to each other, similar like cartwheel, handstand type of stuff, but a lot of them do different stuff, and they dress up in costumes and they have music. Like some of them come in as gladiators, some of them come in as Catwoman, some of them come in as like a nurse. Some of them come in as like fire dancer type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
the crowd gets like, whoa, this is fucking amazing, bro. And
Yeah.
what they're doing is way harder than any men or women's bodybuilding or competitors are doing. And that's why I'm like, they, the women bodybuilders need to start becoming more athletic. And what's funny is Marilyn Yee actually commented something about that on her story. She wasn't just talking about the women bodybuilders, she was just talking about bodybuilders in general. She's like, they need to get judged on their athleticism, because the judges can't be trusted. Hold on 1 second.
Man.
But yeah, bro, like, truth be told, and this is why I don't jump. Like, George invited me to jump on today's show, but I was working out. And talking about, this division is dying. What can women's bodybuilding be doing to get better? We already hit all that. Like, there's nothing else we can really say about it, bro. This is now just redundant stuff. Like, and Nancy Lewis had said, like, the only thing that really can be done to really get the sport back going is the women need to start doing more. They need to stop being as socially lazy. But the truth is, we live in a much lazier society today. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was cool. I'm glad I kind of contribute when talking. So, usually there'd be moments where I don't really have too much to say. If I do say something, and I don't know, it ain't enough or whatever. But yeah, so.
Well, yeah, you didn't say much today, but when you did say it, it did contribute a lot. I did notice that. I was like, all right, Kayla is bringing up some good stuff that's making the conversation better. And what was good too was that Nancy was responding to that. Like a lot of the questions or stuff that you were saying, she was piggybacking on, and she was throwing more, more feedback on it too. So that's always good to know too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know neither. yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
What you? No, I was about to say, later on in the evening, I'm gonna be talking to this girl. She do calisthenics. She do like muscle ups. She's not a bodybuilder, but she she do like she'd be like in these competitions and stuff like that, like these street calisthenics stuff. She do like muscle ups and stuff. She's impressive. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the stuff that the muscle women need to start doing if they want to get more attention. Just to be honest, like that Kiana girl that I brought up, like at the tail end of the show in my comments, like she doesn't compete or anything because she's thick. Like, she's fit. You can tell she's muscular, but she's super thick. She's not dieted down or anything. But she goes to the Arnold, the Olympia. She's even gone to like smaller shows, and she's done runway model stuff where she walks out onto the stage, and then she's dressed basically in nothing but a bikini. But then in the middle of her show, she whips out her swords and starts doing all this amazing stuff, and people love it, bro, because it looks fucking amazing. It's like, bro, this is a sexy ass woman, and she's wielding swords like with what seems like the same skill level as someone like Bruce Lee. I kid you not. That's how amazing she looks when she's doing it.
Yeah, you gotta show me who she is.
I don't remember her Instagram. I just know her name is Kiana. I met her once, and I wanted to draw her. And she was interested. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be drawn as a boxer," because she's actually done some boxing as well. Like, so, like, she's beautiful. She is beautiful. But the truth is, I guarantee you, if more female bodybuilders actually started to do what she's doing, where you're going to shows and or doing it as your actual stage performance, to see like a muscular woman move like how she is able to,
Right.
bro. You just need to whenever I find her Instagram and share it with you, you need to just see the audience, the people who are watching her do it. Just watch their expression. You can tell they're just
Okay.
like, this bitch is fucking amazing. She's like a fucking real superhero. She even does
Yeah.
play. She does play fight scenes with other martial arts dudes. Like they're not really
Yeah.
kicking each other, but
Right.
they do like acting where they're doing it, and they're very well with each other. Like I don't know if they all go to the same school or whatever. Like sometimes she'll get hit by the guy and get thrown off, and then she'll come back and whip around. But it's like watching a fucking movie when you're watching
Mm.
them go against each other, and you're like, bro, this is what people want to see more of with the muscle stuff. They don't want to just see side chest, front double bicep. You know, like, bro, like this is fucking lame, bro.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing that for a long time, so
Exactly, and guess what? Everyone's grown out of it. Everyone's. I'm not saying the sport of bodybuilding as a whole is dead. It's not.
Yeah.
But people being mesmerized by it. Like Nancy had said something about how the sport of bodybuilding like was really big in the 90s. Well, guess
Right.
what? One of the reasons why you had a lot of WWE fighters or WWF fighters coming from bodybuilding. And this is shortly after Arnold hit the scene and this is in the midst of when Arnold's at his peak making movies and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
why there was such a thirst for bodybuilding from the mainstream audience.
Yeah.
Versus today, everyone's used to it, and they're just like, bro, big deal. Y'all have big muscles and you flex. Most of y'all can't run past 30 yards without tiring out. Most of y'all can't punch super hard with all your muscles. It's like we don't care as much. And there's a
Yes.
lot more bodybuilders today,
Yeah.
so that kind of it's oversaturating the market. And think about it. How many of them have great charismatic personalities? How many of these guys or guys and girls that you're watching remind you of Arnold or The Rock or John Cena,
No, it's true. It's true.
or a Trish Stratus? Like charismatic people who like can step into their role and become an actor on the spot.
Right.
They don't have that, and they're so spoiled and boring and narcissistic that they don't think they need to. They just think that from what I see from the current female bodybuilding group, it's like we go in, train, meal prep, do all that stuff, and then post videos of our training or a couple flexes here and there on our social media. Then we go do our webcam stuff.
Mm.
We don't really go out of our way to try to be entertainers, and that's the biggest thing. They're not entertainers at all. They don't realize that people are looking at their muscles as an art form, and art is entertainment. Or a strong part of art is entertainment. I want to say it's all entertainment. But people are looking at them and they're just like, okay, like what else can you do besides lift all day and eat healthy all day? Because guess what? The average person is like, that is fucking boring as hell. Yes, it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell, but it ain't something that's so hard that people just want to do it. Like the average person, when the average person hears what the lifestyle of a bodybuilder is, they're like, okay, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody don't really talk about like shows or anything. I mean, majority of the times, people is just talking about the NBA playoffs, and right
Why?
now,
Because it's athleticism. Hold on
yeah,
a second, bro.
Yeah, guys. Let me see. Let me look at some news and shit.
Okay, back to what you were saying about the NBA and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Back to what you're saying about that. The reason why people are more enamored by watching people dunk and stuff like that is because they're doing something competitive
Right.
against another human being or a group of human beings with their body. It's something that hardly any of us can do. Like, I mean, we can all go and shoot basketballs and stuff like that, but we can't do it nearly as well as NBA players. And it mesmerizes us because there's competition. If, and this, I don't think this is ever
Right.
going to happen, but if female bodybuilding really wanted to ever take off, if you ever saw a muscular woman actually being able to jump and dunk and play basketball like the NBA players are able to, then I guarantee you the WNBA would become a big thing. Like it would blow up. I'm not saying it would become as good as the NBA, but because people would be like, "What the fuck?" Because they're
Yeah.
like, so women are smaller, weaker, blah blah blah. Then all of a sudden you see them doing like super heroic type of shit like that. People would lose their shit. Like even the dudes that hate the idea of women being strong and all this would be like, "Whoa, like this is fucking ridiculous. Like this is." You have to. You could be like out in public. You'd be like, "Oh, fuck that. It's only men are supposed to be like blah blah blah." But behind closed doors, they're like, "Damn, man, that shit's kind of scary, man. That's kind of." And then some of them be like, "Oh, this shit kind of turned me on." Like
Yeah.
it would be amazing, but muscular women so far, because muscular women is really a recent phenomenon in human history. Like there have been some throughout all history, but in terms of like seeing them on a more normal basis, this is more like the last 20 years type of thing. But the thing is, we don't ever see them using their muscles for anything other than lifting weights and posing. You know, they're not using their muscles for playing a sport. They're not using it for combat. They're not using it for acting or anything like that really historically humans have been interested in. Like that we've been shown that we will watch this type of stuff, nonstop, for generations. They don't do that. And most of the girls, to me, are too afraid to try to do stuff like that. And this is when I think the last time I was on George's show, I said that these are pageant-based people, and he didn't like take offense to it, but he did kind of start to interject a little bit. But I was like, he doesn't understand what I'm saying when I say that these are pageant-based people. These are model type of people. Like their personality is more like I want to stand in front of people and get applauded and admired for how I look, not for how I perform. And this is one of the reasons why I don't really like calling bodybuilding a sport. Not for both men and women. They are not. They are a pageant. And they hate hearing that. And a lot of their fans hate hearing that. The schmoes, they're like, "Oh, it is a sport." And it's like, no, the fuck it's not. They are competing against each other, but in the same way that two guys who are showing off their car. Like if you go to a car show, not a race, but a car show,
I
two
get
guys
you. I
are
get
showing
what
off.
you're saying.
They're showing off their cars. They're showing off how
Yeah.
amazing and all the technology and all this other shit that they got. Like that's not a. We wouldn't call that a sport. We'd be like, it's a show. It's a pageant.
Good. Yeah.
That's the same thing that bodybuilding is. These people who are narcissistic, though, as part of one of the huge traits of bodybuilding is they want to stroke their ego and be like, it's a sport. I'm competing against, like as if they're like fucking I've even heard one female bodybuilder, use the analogy of boxing and stuff like that. It's like, no, y'all are not fucking. This is nowhere near the same level.
Yeah, somebody they actually did that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say her name, but it was.
Nah, it's cool.
it was just like, what the fuck? Like, you all are delusional. Like, yes, what you're doing is super hard. I'm not saying that I can train hard though. I can go into a gym and train really, really hard, but I'm not gonna have the level of dedication to do as much as they need. But to sit there and be like, them going and flexing on stage is like the same level of intensity and competitiveness as, say, a human being trying to stop another person from dunking on them. No, it's completely different. Or a human being trying to go and score a touchdown or run the other person over to gain yards. It's completely different. But I think these bodybuilder people think that they are like those athletes. It's like, no. So you shouldn't engage in their delusions, in my opinion. I think this is one
Why
thing.
does your camera always have like this up close thing? I noticed that. Like it's
doing that on its own. I've never messed with my camera. This is how
it's just interesting how it's just
I think it's
does
the AI or something is trying to pick stuff to focus on, because I've noticed it do that times, and I think but yeah, I'm not doing anything. Wiping off the lens now. But yeah, I didn't notice that until one time when I was talking to you. I was like, why the fuck is the camera moving? And it's like, oh, it's moving because I'm showing the picture like in a certain way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. I wanted, I just wanted you to
It's some more
to hop on, man. But this discussion.
More
yeah, it's cool. Yo, maybe I should. You see my drawings, right?
I've seen some of your stuff, because you sometimes do like little video clips of them, I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I did a comic strip. Let me show. So, let's see. I did this was years ago and stuff. So.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, I did it for a competition and stuff.
I didn't know you because some of the drawings that you've shown me before, they're just kind of like quick stuff, but you do detailed stuff.
Yeah, I did this for a school. Yeah, I did I attended a school years ago, and it was like 12 instructions and all this shit, and I graduated. So this was a story called Han Xing. This is about this guy in ancient China and stuff. He was in poverty, and then he became like this general.
Bro, you're good enough to publish a comic, man. I didn't know you.
Thank you.
I knew you drew, but I didn't know that you actually you never showed me anything like that. Like that's actually.
I'm glad you like it. I appreciate you liking that. That's cool.
I'm trying to work on comics right now. That's something I struggle with. So that's why I'm not saying you have to go and publish it, but you could.
Nah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I mean, I was thinking about maybe I should try to because I did before try to do my own comic a bit, but it's like the story and then just fleshing things out. I don't know, man.
It's hard, man. Writing the story
it is
extremely hard, man. It's easy to write a bullshit story, but it's hard to write an actual good one. You know what you should do? You should start making comics about your experiences talking about these female bodybuilders and stuff. Just to be honest, you have now several years of experience interviewing them. The stuff that we're talking about right now, I think you could make comics about them. It could be serious, or it could be funny, or it could just be a commentary. And it doesn't have to be super long, just do a couple panels. But I did think about doing that when
It's a
I was
good idea.
when I was starting to draw more at female bodybuilding shows and all that. I actually was considering creating comics of them. It was going to be funny though. I was going to be making fun of some of them.
Yeah.
Like so I knew that they, you know, they're very sensitive. So I knew that they were like going to be probably not like it as much, but I know that there's a lot of people, fans of the sport and people who've been around them who would know a lot of the jokes and be like, yeah, this is fucking hilarious. I wasn't that passionate about it, but I did draw a couple panels of it.
Yeah, I try to draw a comic book. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Nah, I try to draw a comic like about this chick. She was like a sci-fi thing about this muscle girl and stuff, and she was like imprisoned, and so she was like a princess and stuff like that, like a Princess Leia type thing. But I never. It was a bit tough, so I just stopped. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's hard because especially when it comes to muscle women, what I've noticed, it's very easy for me to get inspired off of a new idea. So like I like the muscle boxing woman. And so I'll do stuff where I'm like, okay, what if I make her a sorcerer this time? What if I make her a princess this time? What if I make her a princess that's dealing with this, or where she's fighting these droids that like they don't use guns. These droids actually fight only with punches, and then sometimes their punches turn into like blasts of energy, that type of stuff. I get inspired off of that, and then I'll start drawing a couple pictures. But then the story itself isn't strong enough for me to stay like, okay, like I'm gonna flesh it out. Like it's more like, okay, this was just a really cool, fun, quick idea, but it's not something that like I'm gonna really dedicate. Most of my story energy goes towards those male characters that you've seen that I've drawn, and eventually, whenever I find the right one, I will add in some muscle woman into the mix. But for now, I'm just drawing these cartoony fun ones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So how's your comic though? You still working on that?
Yep. I have I've changed the format of it a little bit, but yes, I have been working on that. I've been looking at lots of images of like storyboards and trailers from movies, or like stopping at certain points of movies. Yeah. And then I redraw the scenes, but I throw my characters into them, and I make the scene around the concept of what the characters are going through. So say like it's a scene of Batman rising out of a cave. Well, I may have my characters. I'll draw my character rising out of a cave, but it's not going to be for the same reason that Batman's rising out of his cave. It's going to be for a different part, in my story. But that's what I've been doing more recently, and I've been, I don't know, I've been pretty content with it. I can't say that I'm going to be done with it anytime soon. Yeah. I can say I like how it's kind of turning out. Yeah. They're more sketches too right now. I have drawn a few of them on the computer and digitized them and stuff, but most of it is more like in the sketch concept phase. But I do have most of the actual plot. I can say I have most of the plot actually written out, mostly in outline form, and then a couple of it, some pages of it are written out in like novel form.
Yeah. Yeah, did you see? So you go to bed like 4:00 in the morning?
Yeah, bro. My sleep schedule is fucked up. I sometimes go to bed at 1 in the morning. Most nights, though, if I try to go to bed at 1, I'll be lying, tossing and turning until like 4 or 5 a.m. So on average, I don't go to bed until 3 or 5 a.m. My time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I had to get you get you in, man, to talk about the movie, but it was more of a like people making a hype about it. That was basically like the topic, though. But I appreciate you kind of join in, because at first I thought I wanted to like record it. at first and not make it too long, but then it was like, damn, you know, you do want to, because I'm not like no talker like that. So, you know, you do want somebody to come in and stuff like that and just, you know, share your thoughts on the movie. You know, because I asked my friend, but he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. So I just left it alone. He's kind of joking about it, but you know, it is what it is. And so I asked you, you know, if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't heard this hype other than what you're showing me
Yeah,
from the internet. And I know that if I was to go and look at nothing but internet comments and see stuff, then I would see the hype. But it doesn't feel organic. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
gotcha.
the Black Panther hype was in real life. Like if you remember when that movie came out, especially because I lived in Dallas at that time, like every black person, almost everyone that I knew, was hyping the shit out of that movie. And there was only a few of us. There was actually only a few of us who were like, you know, it's good, but it ain't a religious experience. Like what the fuck is y'all on? Like, we were looking at some of these people like, man, y'all are weird with, and like,
Yeah,
cause me too, cause I'm like, bro, none of y'all ever read a Black Panther comic. Like I actually had, I've had two Black Panther comics, cause I actually do like him as a character and from the comics, but
yeah.
seeing all these people just it's the greatest, this is the greatest black movie ever made, blah 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 blah. And it's just like, do you motherfuckers know any of his villains? Like
I
seriously.
didn't know. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I wasn't reading a Black Panther comic like that. I mean, I thought he was interesting, you know. Yeah, that, but I wasn't like. I know he appeared in Fantastic Four, one of the Fantastic Four issues, but I wasn't reading them like that. I'm gonna keep it real with you. And I wasn't so moved with the preview, like when they showed like the preview when they for opening the theaters. I wasn't so moved by it because I didn't know what was going, what was what was I gonna expect, you know? So
I agree with
yeah,
you on that, bro. Like
yeah,
he was actually way better in Civil War. Like I don't know if you remember
right,
the first
yeah, yeah. I seen that. That he was
when he
good.
came out in Civil War, he was
Yeah,
fucking
he was
bad,
dope. Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is Black Panther.
yeah,
This dude is like he's basically an African Bruce Wayne, but with powers, and like
yeah,
dude is fucking shit up, and
yeah,
he was lethal in Civil War. They did him
yeah,
right in that
yeah,
movie. They did him right, but
yeah.
then they go and do his own movie, and just like you said, even the previews, I was kind of like, this doesn't. It doesn't look like what I saw from Civil War, you know, like.
Exactly,
And then
exactly.
you watch the movie, and bro, they cut his dick off. Like he was neutered in that movie. He was
Yeah,
nowhere near as powerful and as competent as, because I'm not saying he relies only on superpowers, and he doesn't. He can use his intellect, all this other stuff. But in that movie, he's pretty dumb. He's doesn't seem to be that great of a fighter like he was in the previous one. He gets owned
yeah.
by Killmonger, and I didn't like that at all. Like I was like, fuck, I don't like
I
Killmonger.
thought Killmonger made that movie. Actually, I thought
His
he made that.
acting, his personality did. But the
Yeah,
reason I
yeah,
don't like Killmonger is because if you really look at it, they made Black Panther much lower to make Killmonger look better. So instead of having Killmonger be the elevation and
yeah,
Black Panther rise to meet him, they made Black Panther like a much shittier version of himself
mm,
and to make Killmonger look much better. You
mm,
know, I didn't like that.
mm.
Because in
Man,
my mind, and from what I know in the comics, Black Panther be fucking Killmonger up. Like, yeah, he's a
mm.
rival, but he's not. He's a
Oh,
rival,
okay.
but it's not like this. Isn't like Killmonger is not Black Panther's Joker. Like, you know.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. I understand. I understand. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, man. So I'm gonna leave you alone, man. I appreciate you hopping on, man.
Appreciate you having me on. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun. This type of little movie slash female muscle rambling. It's kind of different. I
Yeah.
think conversations like this are way more fun than just talking about which division is dying and what can female bodybuilders do to enhance their sport or how can they get money from, man, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Like we can merge the comic movie type of stuff with those muscle women talk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't always want to talk about that all the time, Brandon. I really don't, man, because it's like it's not like what is there to talk about? They compete and that's it. Like, and
It's not
then
entertaining, bro. It's
not
repetitive. It
like
becomes
not
the same thing
enough.
over. Becomes the same
Yeah,
thing over and over and over and over again. And this is, I'm not trying to dog on, it's, I'm not trying to dog on you and George, but it's the
no, I
nature of.
get it.
The truth is, though, you all have to. Now, the women may not be good enough at talking either to handle this, but y'all have to start getting them to stop talking about competition, competition, diet, diet, muscle, muscle. Start talking about the movie shit. Start talking about the comics and all this other different
But
stuff.
some of them, not to cut you off, some of them don't really be all into movies and all that type of stuff.
They're fucking
Like,
boring. They're boring. That's what I'm getting at. These people, these women, yeah, they look beautiful, but outside of their beauty, like, what is there to them? There's some
yeah,
cool ones
man,
out there. There's cool
yeah.
ones out
Some of them, like if you it's like I'm not gonna lie, it can be tough too, because you be trying to find something to talk about, and sometimes it's just not there. Like, it just ain't. Like, I remember there was this chick, and like not too long ago, and I don't know, she seemed like she was bored or something like that, and then I just had to like cut the interview short. Like it was like 28 minutes. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, man. It's not always. Some of them are cool, they're easy to talk with and flow with, and talking about it. But even that, you don't always want to talk about bodybuilding. Sometimes you just be want to talk like, what do you do outside of bodybuilding? Just have like a normal conversation. You don't always want to be talking about shows and all that stuff like that. It just and I'm not really in a world like that to just be like, oh, I understand, and so.
yeah, it's a boring, vain industry, man. So
Yeah.
that's why I had to stop. That's why I stopped really drawing them, bro. Like I saw all that
Yeah.
stuff too. I was like, bro, there is not a lot of depth in these people, bro. I've had more fun. I kid you not. I have had more fun talking to strippers at strip clubs, and not paying them either, but just having fun talking to strippers about a lot of the same shit that you and I've been talking about in this whole movie. I mean, not
Yeah.
movie, whole interview. I've been able to talk with them about just fucking cool, random, nerdy stuff, and be like, why the fuck are you all so much cooler than these bodybuilder women? Because it's like both
Yeah.
of them are highly valued women. Now, strippers are of course more valued by mainstream world than bodybuilders, but strippers are actually very strong because of the pole dancing and all this other stuff. Very athletic. A lot of them are crazy,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of cool ones too. At least the ones that I've met recently, and I'm just like, you all are way more fun to talk to than these fucking fitness women. Like, what the fuck is? It's because the fitness women have a stick shoved up their ass like all day, every day. There is no. It's like they're doing everything for attention. Like we
Yeah.
have to do everything for the judge's attention. We have to do everything for the attention of each other. We can't ever just do all something that we think is actually fun and cool. And then what happens is they're not able to talk about anything fun or cool.
Right.
So anyway.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming, stopping by.
Thanks for having me on, man.
All right.
Until the next time. Good luck with
Yeah.
the interviews and all the other stuff that you've been doing.
Yeah, man. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. Peace.
Peace.